When you look back on your career at this point, I think you're like 10 years older than me. Are you like, what do you feel? Do you feel like you've done it, or do you feel like you have more to get? I'm just curious, like, because let me preface this a little bit more. From where I'm sitting, I've been in LA 13 years. My TV credits include Fox NFL Sunday, one line.
That's cool.
A Kimmel bid that got cut, and that's it. And I've been here for 13 years or whatever. So from where I'm standing, you are a fucking superstar. Do you feel that way? Or do you feel like, well, how do you reflect on that? I'm just curious if you do at all.
This is a very good question that I think will lead me to an existential crisis.
Oh no, I'm sorry.
No, it's good, because I think it's good for us to check in, right? I think that I wrestle with the idea if I am a has-been or a never was. And I also feel like as an artist, I am as good at it as I have ever been. And so I know I have more to offer, but I also have to look at my life and the sort of where I've been and where I'm going with a level of realism that says I'm 51 years old. I have crippling credit card debt and 2 children. What am I going to do? Right? So it's a difficult thing because, and I jokingly say existential crisis, but it is a little existential because it's like, if you ask yourself, what was I made for? I know I was made to perform. I know I was made to create and be artistic. But if that's unsustainable as a person with a family that is responsible for others and for a sense of just stability in life, you have to take a step back and go, what am I doing? Right? So I don't know. Hence the effort of proactivity, hence the trying my best. And what's in my solo show, I talk about some of my success, because I will say, and I appreciate your kind words, I have done gigs that people dream about. I'm extremely fortunate. So I recognize that. And if it ended, I'd be like, damn, I got to do some cool stuff. And I look at my body of work and feel very proud of it for the most part. Very proud. But I want to do more.
Yeah.
And I was lucky enough early in my career, like in my mid-20s, to have some commercial success and then some theatrical success in Chicago, where I made a living as an actor pretty young. So I didn't have a fallback. And so the adage of like, if you love something 100%, you got to jump in and do it. But there's no, if you this, then this, then this, then this in our business. And so I say in my solo show, at what point does persistence become insanity? And I think that is a relevant thing to anybody who's an artist. So, I'm sort of looking at like, well, where do I derive my happiness and what can I do? And the things that I'm currently doing industry-wise, I could do in a lot of places. So do I have to live here? And so, but I want to. I'm stubborn too. So like making and writing for myself and doing stuff. So like all of those things I feel extremely thankful, and I have an immense amount of gratitude, and I've done some cool ass stuff, but I don't know the answer, And so I weigh those sorts of things. And if an opportunity came, like, do you know the what's it called? The film, The Sound of Metal. Is that what it's called? Riz Ahmed did it a couple years ago. Maybe
it sounds familiar, but I don't know.
It's about the drummer who's losing his hearing.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
It's an excellent film. And at the time during the pandemic, I was in a movie club, and all of us are people here in LA.
Sounds super cool.
Oh my God, it was so cool. It was just a bunch of dudes on Zoom trying to make it through the pandemic. But it was fun. Yeah. And it started as watching the AFI Top 100 comedies, and then it started branching out. Anyways, I think that's something that film raises a lot of things, but one of the things it raised for me is like, what if your gift was taken away from you? Or what if you had to make a choice to leave your gift? And so I remember at the time saying like, hey, if somebody offered me a job and they say, you're going to get paid $80,000 a year, but you can never act again, would you take it?
No.
I might.
$80,000?
Yeah.
Interesting.
I mean, in LA, that's nothing. But
wait. Interesting. What's your number?
Well, I mean, that seems like a lot to me. Because if somebody says you show up and you do this,
Aluminum
and
siding.
this is what you paid
Yeah.
every 2 weeks, and I do a couple improv shows that,
So,
like, I'd be like,
you're saying you could still perform, just not act.
well, that would be the life, right? Now, if somebody said, here's the money and you never do it again, it'd be tough. But I would consider it. I wouldn't be an immediate no. I'd be like, let me look at this.
That's fascinating.
80 grand is not that much money.
It's not.
A year.
That's
not
fascinating.
not for the whole time, but 80 grand a year. This is your job. This is what you do.
That's, I mean, first off, I don't want to glaze over what you just said because that was very eloquent and very from the heart, and I appreciate that. And I didn't expect to elicit that much response. So I appreciate the thought you put behind that. But the idea of a number is very fascinating to me because I've always my fantasy is just leaving LA and just like traveling and not coming back. And I've told my therapist, like, if you gave me $5 million, you'd never see me again. I would just leave and never be back.
Oh, Andy Dufresne.
But that's kind of where I'm at, is like 5 million. So to hear you say 80K, it's so funny to me because that's such a different
16
number.
bucks. I'd live in Riverside.
But there is something to the idea that you've done so much already. So you can be satisfied with the body of work. You've put out a body of work that I haven't even I've barely put a toe out there.
You got, I mean, that's also the thing that I think is hard is like comparison, right?
Oh yeah, it's impossible.
Comparison is very difficult. Los Angeles makes you focus on what you don't have as opposed to what you do have.
Yeah, you compare up.
And everybody wants more.
You never compare backwards. Either.
Yeah. And so it's hard. It can be very hard. And that's a tough sort of, I think dissatisfaction for an artist is a good thing as long as it doesn't ruin you. Dissatisfaction drives the artist.
Yeah.
It can always be better. It can always be better. So I try to put the thing of like, it always can be better and always could be worse, and look forward to the next time I get to do it. Right. So I don't think anybody puts their artistic measure, with love in my heart because I've probably done 35 commercials in my life, if not more. Nobody's like, that is my artistic outlet. I do commercials, right? But you can make a lot of money. And so that a few days on set a year could turn into your whole salary for the year. That's pretty cool. And you can pursue other things that you want to do artistically. So I think that there's measuring yourself to others and finding your own place inside of it is a question that I think everybody struggles with. And so I would never say this is what you should or have to do. And I could see why people leave. And I envy some people that there was somebody I knew that came from Chicago and was in LA for 4 months. I was like, this is not for me. And they left. And I was like, damn, that definitive sort of understanding I'm envious of. I've been here for 18 years. So and I think, I don't know. It's just really hard for folks. And if you feel like you want to do it, then you should keep doing it. Right. And if it makes you happy, but you know that there's an element of sacrifice to this work. And so that's what sort of keeps me going in some way, shape, or form, to try to keep, I don't know. But if you measured it statistically, it would be like, it's like when you watch an athlete and you're like, they should retire. They don't have it anymore.
But that's way different.
It is way different. And I don't think retirement in acting is different, but I'm also like, am I going to be like 73 years old driving to Santa Monica for a commercial audition?
I see.
And being like, I hope I get this.
See, where my head goes though is I'm 73 and my age group type is like the same 10 guys, and I'm the old guy on every sitcom because
that would be
I'm
amazing.
one of 10 guys left that's 70s white. You know what I mean?
Outlast.
Right. That's where
Outlast. There's an element to that too. I'm like, my category might be getting smaller.